Hi, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Jan.
Welcome to the Halloween edition of Villages 365.
It could be scary.
It is going to be scary. Deed restrictions and things that you may not know exist where you live.
And some of them are scary.
Very frightening. Thank you, Princess Leia.
You're welcome. May the force be with you.
So today, Jan did some digging and found some deed restrictions from different areas. So to be fair, all the areas in the villages would have their own restrictions. So this is not representative of every single home here.
Neighborhood. And if
Right.
you go on to the districtgov.org or whatever that is, there's a bunch of them. And if you're a villa and you have your own little village and your restrictions there, that's separate too. And I never did find mine because I really don't know where mine are. But I did pull the first one ever, which was Orange Blossom Hills. So on the historic, probably the area that was almost all single wides and double wide modular homes. And there's a lot of restrictions that you had to have a certain mobile home, and you had to put plumbing and a toilet in there, and it has to be a certain size, 12 by 56 feet.
The toilets or the mobile home?
No, I changed subjects. And all the outside structures for storage must be attached to your mobile home. So no lean-tos, which, I'm not going to say anything. Commercial and or professional activities may not be conducted.
And that's actually, I think that is true in most.
And
all of the
I think it's in
villages.
all of them.
Yeah.
And I think the last one I pulled was the newest one
Southern
down
Oaks.
there. Southern
Yeah.
Oaks. So they kind of just copied some of these. No television antennas. I thought that was interesting. And no fence of any kind or nature shall be placed on the property. And your hedges can't grow higher than 4 feet.
Now that's
Do
funny.
not turn the camera around and look at my hedges.
Well, and this morning in the local paper, there was an article about a woman who lives in the Spanish Springs area, and she backs up to soccer fields along Rolling Acres, basically.
Right, and there's a driving range also, and just bare land.
And yeah, so there's no villages behind her. But anyway, she let her bushes grow to give her some privacy and sound buffer. And the article claimed that Jennifer Parr, who is one of the Morse children,
Right.
that is still participating in the villages, and supposedly she had said the same thing. Yeah, I do the same thing. Let them grow. And now, how long has that house been there? 30 years? I mean, it's 25.
At least, because I think that might be older than ours. Ours is a 96, so someone complained.
It's old and it's been there for a while. Yeah, she must have made one of her neighbors angry or something.
Someone complained, and there you go. So now they're making her take them down.
Yep, she's
or
gotta have 'em down.
chop them up, one of the two.
Yeah.
So exterior lighting must be shaded as to not create a nuisance to others.
Oops.
Yeah. Okay. This is my favorite. All owners shall notify the developer when leaving their property for more than 7 days, and shall simultaneously advise them as when they return.
I think we should all do this because actually that repeats in a lot of the.
I think yours has that, right?
Mine has it, and it's funny because I was like, for what?
Yeah.
I mean, they would be inundated because, like I said, a lot of people travel. A lot of people go away for the summer. If you're a snowbird, if you're, or just you go away for a couple weeks. I'm going to go on a cruise for a couple weeks. Now you got to tell the developer, I'll be on a cruise for 2 weeks. I'll be returning on January 1st.
Yeah, that one caught me by surprise because that's one of them I did not know.
Very interesting.
Another one, only one cat or dog, and a maximum of 20 pounds in weight. So if you have a big dog on the other side, hide him, because people are going to know that you're not supposed to have him. All garbage will be contained in plastic bags prescribed by the developer. Dr. Bag will tell you what kind. I think when we first were over there, you weren't supposed to put it in anything but a white one. You
Really?
weren't- Yeah.
Got to keep our garbage looking pretty, people.
And no children, of course, we all know that, of under the age of 19, and your grandchildren can visit 30 days maximum every year. No clotheslines, which I have not seen that. I have seen people put a little clothesline inside their lanai.
Hey, I wonder about this. Children will be permitted. So if I have 10 grandchildren, does that mean if I have them independently there, they only each get 3 days? Or does each one of them get 30 days? It doesn't say. I'm not asking Jan.
Well,
I'm just being,
yeah, I mean,
I'm just throwing that
they
out there.
should
I'm
have
just
said
curious.
no child instead of
Yes.
no children.
Yes.
No window air conditioners. No. No for sale sign will be displayed in anyone's individual lot or mobile home. And then there's a whole bunch of setbacks, building easements. The developer, if you want to do something, you have to ask him. Oh, look. A monthly assessment fee of $37
Per month.
That's on the other side. I hadn't catch that.
Well, honestly, if I lived there and if I have an increase, I would have to read these whole tax and bylaws. This is what I actually used to do for a
Yeah, I was
living.
gonna say.
But if it doesn't specify, I'd be only paying $37 to this day
Exactly.
if they don't say that there's a allowance for increase.
And a lot of this is a lot of more of blah, blah, blah. No property may be sold or transferred by an owner without first receiving the written approval of the developer.
Very interesting.
However, let's see. However, this restriction shall in no way manner prohibit a transfer to your immediate family. So just sell to your family member. And that seems to be kind of the outside structures must be attached to the home and, blah, 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 the mailbox.
There's a few crazies in there, though. That's a few
that
crazy
was,
things.
That was the original, the other side. Now, our next one is in 1992. These were brought out, and I thought maybe this was ours, but are you supposed to tell what you are on your card, your
No.
S2?
Well, that tells them which district you're in. But so if anybody does want to know what their CC&Rs are, just so you know, on your deed, there's something that will say, and on your title policy, if you got title insurance, which most people do, it'll tell you are subject to the CC&Rs recorded XXXX, whatever the document number is, and then you can pull that document number. You can pull them off the county website. We bought our home brand new, and so we were actually provided with a copy, whether they do or don't all the time. I don't know. I'm just going to say I was provided with a copy at the closing, and my house
sure
was
I
new
did too.
construction back in the day.
Yeah, because
So-
we bought from the villages. I'm sure it was in our paperwork, but I don't know. It didn't make the move somewhere. It's long gone.
And nobody ever reads them, and then they don't know that there's something that they may need to know in there. But anyway,
So these were in 1992, and the developer refers to the Villages of Lake Sumter, Inc., a Florida corporation. So that must be the whole family. What they're calling the developer. You would know better than me. I think my
it
bones
probably is. It probably is that could be the name of what they, and it could just been what they, a corporation could have just bought that section of land. You know what I mean?
Right,
Still the
right.
Morse family, but they maybe just bought
Yeah,
that
then they
portion of the land, and
yeah.
that's what they called the corporation at that time.
So again, no building or structure can be constructed without the approval of the developer and the workmanship and the materials, blah, blah, blah. Again, you need a toilet and a bath, a shower, kitchen sink. Each home must have a garage. No carports are permitted in the subdivision. So this must be on this side, because in the historic side there are carports, because we had one. Each home needs a concrete driveway. What about the brick ones they're doing now?
Well, I don't think those are 100% brick. Most of them. I mean, it could be some of them are block. What they typically do, though, is put that thin layer of
Concrete down first?
block on top of it. Well, no, it goes on. The block goes on top of the existing driveway. I suppose it would be very expensive to dig out your current concrete driveway and put.
Yeah, but we're going to be doing that in December, and there's no way we can put those on top of our driveway because we couldn't get in our...
Well, they're very thin set pieces. Because like our back lanai. That's what we did. We've got out where we replaced the grass.
Uh-huh.
That is full block. But on the
Okay.
inside, because we have a concrete
Had a
patio
patio?
in
Oh,
the
okay.
lanai, and so what we did is we put the thin blocks on there. So there are ways around that. It's less expensive, and it is. I mean, if you got to tear out concrete,
Yeah,
that's
that's what-
expensive.
Well, our concrete's all cracky, so.
Well, maybe
it's
they
old.
can't work it.
I don't know. We'll
You'll
let you
see.
know in December.
We'll follow up.
We'll do a little short video on
Yes.
that. All structures must be attached to the home. This one was interesting. No trucks over 3/4 ton size. No boats, recreational vehicles shall be parked, stored, or remain on any lot or street. No junk, I like the way they do junk vehicles or equipment be on any lot.
So just so you know, with RVs and boats, etc., with an RV, I think it says, and it's somewhere in the
It's not in
there,
here, but it's, yeah.
you're
It'll not be
allowed-
in here, but it's, yeah, 3 days.
you're allowed 3 days to basically load it, clean it, disappear, come back, unload it, clean it, disappear. So some people abuse that. Some people have visitors come and park their RVs on their driveway. That is not permitted.
And I think you're not supposed to push your things out. And they're
Your
not
slides.
supposed to be in the street. It's supposed to be in your driveway.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that, but that could be.
I'll look that up.
But could be. But yeah, there are RV storage spots around, so you should absolutely. Jan's being attacked.
I know these
Princess
little
Leia
ants.
is being attacked.
Sorry.
But so anyway, there are storage facilities that you can leave your RVs in. I will say I used to get all grumbly because we had an RV, don't anymore, but we used to pay to store it, and there were some people that apparently were more important than me, and they parked it in the parking lot at Glenview by the restaurant. They had a big old motorhome. If you're watching, you know who you are. And they would leave it there for a while, and nobody ever did anything about it because it was out in the parking lot, so it wasn't on their driveway, wasn't in their.
Probably they're like, who's that? And
Yeah.
then didn't do
Nobody did
after
anything
that.
about it, but
Yeah,
anyway, you're supposed to keep them in storage.
right. And you're not supposed to let people sleep in there. That's a no. I know that's a no somewhere. I'll find it. Let's see. No building or improvements made without the permission. No person may enter the wildlife preserve. Now, we've had some issues with some houses that cut down some trees and stuff because it blocked their view.
Did you lose your bun?
No, I think I lost my earring.
Oh.
We'll find it. Let's see.
But an interesting thing to that, though, too, is when you're on the golf course, you will find on the golf course there's red stakes.
Sorry.
There's red stakes. The red stakes with a green cap means you can't cross in there.
Yes.
And a lot of people we know go in there looking for their ball. Just let it go.
Well, and if you get caught, you can be fined.
Ejected
big
from
time.
yeah. And I
then
think they
they'll
can
kick
eject you
off.
from the
Yeah,
course
they'll
too.
kick you off.
But anyway, there are some places, and they are well marked, and it says right there's a little sign that'll say like I forget nature area
Yeah.
illegal to step in here
Right,
or something.
right. But some people think they can lean over and with their little thing and go like that. And they just don't want you walking.
If they
in
could,
there.
that'd be
Yeah.
okay. But
Yeah.
some people go in there and go, well, I was only a couple feet in there.
Yeah, well, if you get caught, you're in trouble. A sign showing the owner's name will be permitted. No other signs or advertisements will be permitted without the express written consent of the developer. No satellite dishes. We didn't know
Oh,
that
no.
when we got one. We don't have it anymore, but let's see what else we have. Exterior lighting must be attached to the home and shaded.
Well, now that's interesting because they're the ones that put the lanterns in.
The lanterns.
Is there another thing about
Well,
that?
no, you have to have the one pole light.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have a pole light.
Yeah.
But anything else has to be attached.
It does
to the
say
house.
no security light poles may be erected.
Right.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And the developer has a right to come on the property anytime to look at stuff.
Because they do it all the time. They got nothing else to do.
Yeah, well, I've never seen them. And you must be kind to your neighbors. No radios, record players. Do you have a record player? I don't have a record player.
Not anymore. But they did start making them again. I threw
I
away
know,
all
they
my
are.
records, and now they start making them again.
Television voices and other sounds are to be kept to a moderate level from 10 to 1 hour before daylight. Let's see, no peddling or soliciting or whatever. Can't do that.
Okay, so the loud noise thing. Let's talk about that a second. Most people, when you drive through the villages after 9 o'clock at night, you could hear a pin drop.
Oh yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
When we first
Yeah.
moved here,
Except the
we
parties
thought
at
of
Jan's
the-
house, but
yeah.
other than that, they're the rule breakers.
We thought of the rapture and that everybody had been called to heaven, and Mark and I were left behind because there was like like
Nobody.
roaches, like
Yep.
at 9 o'clock.
Music's over. Got to go to bed.
Yeah, I mean nobody stayed up past that time, and it is pretty quiet here. After,
is quiet.
after that, except at the squares.
Which is nice.
And still in
This old lady needs her sleep.
And still in 1992, only one dog can be kept, and however, at all times it must be restrained by a leash. Again, the plastic bags, no children again, and clothes lines and air conditioner, blah blah blah. Let's see, the sewer and all that. The mailboxes are provided. And if here's the enforcement, which I don't see. If any lot owner or persons in possession of said lots violate or attempt to violate any of these covenants, it shall be lawful for the developer to prosecute any proceedings in law or in equity against such person.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. So when you are in violation, let's just say my next door neighbor paints their house bright pink, Barbie doll pink, and it has upset me severely. Then if I want to, I can go ahead and file a complaint with the ARC committee.
Yes.
And they will investigate it, and if it's not an approved color on the color palette, they are supposed to hold a hearing. That person has the right to defend themselves and to, but basically what you're supposed to do when you're going to make a change to your home, whether it's landscaping, removing a tree, putting up a new roof, whatever, you're supposed to go to the ARC committee and
Pre-approved.
you have it pre-approved. Now, because the village is so big, they have now said, like, these are all the approved roof colors. Here's the palette of approved siding colors. Here is the trim colors that are approved, blah, blah, blah. So you are supposed to do that. Now, you have had an experience where one of your neighbors was, and you didn't tattle on them, but somebody did, and they still won their thing because they brought all this proof and said, well, look at this ugly house and look at this ugly house. And I'm like, but I don't know, I'm black and white. So if this is the rule, it's the rule. Whether if 10 people have violated it, then I guess you got to go complain about the 10 people.
And I get it, when people move to Florida, they think pink houses and teal houses and all these pretty, which was the 50s. But yeah, you're supposed to pick a color, and these painters that do it know better because they.
But if they're paying me and you tell me you want your house purple, I don't care. It's not my problem.
Yep. So anyway.
But anyway, you should double check before you do something. And they did do, to make it easier though, they did do palettes and stuff so that people
Could look.
don't have to go get approval. You just need to make sure you're on the approved palette.
But I don't know where they hide those palettes.
There's a room.
Well, I know, but nobody goes there.
We did.
Well, because you're a rule follower.
I am a rule follower.
Okay, so in this area in 2002, where did I see the dogs? I think you can have more dogs.
It's probably down further. Here's your hedges.
Yeah, the hedges are still the same
Still
thing.
4-foot hedges.
You still, in 2002, had to tell the developer you were leaving, and the radios playing and all that. The lamppost erected in front. No trucks still over 3 ton size, boats and all that. That's still here.
There you go.
Here we go. Now this is my favorite. Birds, fish, dogs, and cats shall be permitted, with the maximum of 2 pets per home site. Does that mean 2 fish?
Yeah,
Well, if you have an aquarium, you have more than 2 fish.
that's what it says. Birds, fish, dogs, and cats shall be permitted with a maximum of 2 pets per home site.
Yeah.
So if those are your pets, you're only allowed to have 2, and you can't have a fish and a dog.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you could, but you can't have 2 fish and a dog.
No.
That would
Yeah.
be 3 pets.
Or you could have a cat who eats the fish, and then you can get another cat.
You could.
And animals, livestock, and poultry, the same. The garbage, the same. The clothesline, most of it, this is like the other ones. Let's see. Is this the Marion one? Marion. This is where they say you can't have stuff in your yard. No,
Yeah, now see,
no yard art.
some of the neighborhoods, and there's not a lot of them, but there are some that the yard ornaments are
Not
prohibited.
permitted, yeah.
And,
And this
so
is one of them.
so if you've been watching the Villages at all, there is a big dispute right now, and these people have taken it to, I think, the Supreme Court now. But there was a cross. They had a simple white cross in their yard. Somebody, for whatever reason, decided to stir up some stuff
Yep.
and said that's a lawn ornament. And the people said it's not a lawn ornament. It's a display of my faith. And so there was a big argument, and then they did lose initially. Then they appealed and they lost that, and now they're headed up to the Supreme Court because they're saying this is I'm displaying my faith. And with all of the stuff they do say in there too, like with your Halloween decorations or your Christmas decorations, they've got to be
30 days.
no more than 30 days
Yeah.
before, and don't they have to be down like within 7 days after the holiday? I think, or
and
something
I think
like
it's
that.
in here. I can't find it right
They're
now.
pretty
I'm not gonna say-
specific on that, but yeah, they're
here we
pretty
go.
specific about that.
Lawn ornaments are prohibited. And this is the one in
Except
2002.
for, what does it say?
Except for season displays not exceeding 30-day duration.
Okay. So basically, I mean, if you're a lawn ornament person, you might want to make sure you're not buying a home in that area because people are complaining. I'm just going to say people are complaining.
This is in Marion County, so I think it started up there by Lopez, right?
Yeah,
And I do
Lopez
know
would be Marion County.
but down by Pinellas and
But
all
that
those
shouldn't be
bird
Marion,
streets.
though.
I know, but they have the same thing.
They have the same guidelines? Yeah.
No.
So double check. I know somebody who used to be a realtor with the Villages Realty, and she said that they had a person that said, "Wow, nobody has anything in their front yard." And she said, "What do you mean, like what?" And she said, "Like yard ornaments and stuff." She goes, "Oh, those aren't permitted here." And the guy goes, "Well, I don't want to live here,"
Yeah.
because he had a lot of things to display.
Yep. No art. No yard art. Yard
Yeah.
art. And there's some interesting yard art.
I have a 5-foot gator. So he's real cute. He lays
He's
low.
cute.
He's not
He
in
is,
anybody's
yeah.
face, but I think I'd have to put him in my living room if they said I had to take him in.
Well, I don't even notice it until I trip over it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even know it was there.
He's kind of festive. Usually he's got like a pumpkin in his mouth or a golf ball or a tennis ball or
Depending on the season. or
Exactly.
the time, yeah. So the last ones that we pulled were from
Southern
down there,
Oaks.
Southern Oaks, April of 21. So most of these are about the same, but they have the effort to protect limited natural resources. So all home sites shall remain finished with the same qualities, water conservative landscaping. And so they're getting a
Florida
little-
friendly landscape.
Yes. Again, no gazebo, pergola, anything that's not attached to your house is a no-no without the permission of the developer. And here's an interesting, exterior lighting must be attached to the home like the previous ones, but exterior strip lighting, liquid lights, and similar lighting sources are prohibited.
So all those people that put those on their ribs, so on the big bird cages, a lot of people
Yeah.
will put them over their pools, and they've got that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That
Exterior strip lighting. And
that's going to be interesting to see if anybody follows that, knows that, or
Yeah.
wow.
Let's see. No limit to dogs, but no livestock, poultry, or swine. So,
So
That's-
have 10 dogs. That's okay, just long as you don't have any livestock.
and like 10 St. Bernards.
But please pick up their poop.
Yes, today when I was running, there was some dog. Maybe the owner didn't want to stop for him to go because it was a little here, a little here, a little here, and a little here.
Maybe he was having a rough day. He had chili for
I don't know.
dinner.
There was like little chocolate drops everywhere. So most of these are about the same. Again, no businesses, and they're more water conservative in their stuff. And so the mailboxes again are provided. And those are, some of the D's and restrictions. And if you live here or you're thinking about buying here, you might want to read those over.
Yeah, check
And-
into the area that you're thinking of buying in before you buy. If something is like a firm
Right.
I need to have it or I don't want it at all.
And if you have a pot-belly pig, then you might have to move outside the villages.
yeah, you might.
Or make it look like a dog. Will that work?
We've seen a lot of dogs dressed up. I mean, it could happen.
Yeah,
So.
they do like to dress up their dogs.
And then as far as our, like we were talking about any of the current news that has kind of come up. So 2 stories that I've read recently. One was with regard to the amenity fees. So we've had some arguments about amenity fees. They are increasing.
Right.
And up north of 466, they have now proposed, which I would almost imagine this may be copied throughout the villages, but we'll see. North of 466, the board has proposed that they put a freeze on it. So, because right now, obviously, economic times are a little tough, and if you're on a fixed income, it's a little tough. And so, what they've proposed is that they would put a freeze on it. They said, does this mean that we will not have any increase? This is a cap. And they said, no, we will not put a cap on it, but we may put a 1-year freeze
Right.
so that they can't be increased. And I did read something interesting that said people north of 466, the cheapest someone is paying is $40 a month. I don't know who that is, but I'd like to know where.
We saw this
it
in
might
this
be the Orange Blossom.
I think it's over
Well, that's
there.
at 37, but that's crazy.
I know.
And but anyway, $40 a month is the lowest being paid north of 466, and 207 or 209, 207 was the highest being paid north of 466. So very interesting. So anyway, they're talking about at least freezing them for those people so that they don't have their increases during a bad economic time, which I think is
and
smart.
there are very older people
Yeah.
that complain they don't use any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're older. They don't exercise. They don't use the pool. They don't use this. They don't go to the square.
But they purchased here knowing that that was part of it. But the thing that is that the pool of reserves that the community has are it's large. So I think just by freezing it, not necessarily, I mean, they're not suspending anybody's dues or anything.
Right.
It's just they're just going to freeze the maximum or what you're paying right now. I think that that's fair considering the amount of money they have in reserves. It's not going to cause a hardship for the community itself.
Right. And everything's more expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's the thing.
If you want this place to look like this with the flowers and this and that and that, it's costing more for labor. It's costing more for everything. So I don't know what the solution is, but
Well, and the
Still a good
other
place to
recent
live.
thing is the controversy down south. So south of 44, as Jan was reading in the decks and bylaws, that they did a lot of water conservative, Florida friendly things down south. So there's a big controversy now. The people that have purchased down south of 44 are complaining that it's not as pretty and we don't have as many things. And it is 85%. They said that 85% of the landscape is in. So it's kind of going to look like it
That's
looks. And so
it's not unattractive.
it's not unattractive.
Florida.
But I think that what they're seeing is there's not a lot of big trees, a lot of
Like
mature
if you look back
landscaping.
here, there's a whole bunch of big trees. Yeah.
Yep. And so I think for them, there's not a lot of mature landscaping, not a lot of trees, not a lot of the flowers that require a lot of water. It's all Florida friendly stuff.
Which is smart because, like the West Coast has run out of water. So, and if you buy in any new development, your trees are small and your bushes are
No,
small.
that part's true.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that they feel like there's going to be a lot more
That's
put
going
in.
to change, yeah.
And so but then that's the whole thing. So again, if that's what's important to you, some people like that clean look of everything's tiny, like the tiny bushes, tiny trees, tiny everything. It looks nice and neat and clean, and other people like the more mature stuff. And so, I mean, again, when you're thinking about buying, consider this stuff in. I mean, this is what you should be thinking about. Where would you be happiest? What do you think is the prettiest section, to you? We all have different tastes.
Right, yeah. If you
So-
want to sit under a big old oak tree and clean up after it, then, maybe we should have them come and do leaves, and then they'll go, well, yeah, we don't want those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway. But it is a year-round growing season here, so your tiny little bushes grow pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, unless they don't plant things that,
Right,
you know.
like the palms they'll get bigger, but they don't provide a lot of shade.
Yeah. So, well, that's about all I got today.
That's all I got. That's all
Okay.
Princess Leia has.
Okay, Princess Leia. Do you beam me up, Scotty, or how does this work?
I don't think Scotty was in my movie.
Do you do the genie thing, the blink?
Yeah.
How do we say goodbye?
Do they say goodbye?
I don't know.
I'll have to watch it again. I don't know.
We'll
May
say
the
goodbye.
force be with you. That's how they say goodbye.
Peace out. Have a great day.
Like and subscribe.
Always.